right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's interview with the Team Ambition main proving ground squad. We just finished on up the group draw here, or the seeding draw, rather, coming on into our first open qualifier in just a couple of days. Main team was seeded number 10th overall, so got some favorable matchups coming into this first round of games, and I'm really excited to get to talk with everybody on the squad a little bit prior to going into those matches. So I want to start off by checking in how everybody's feeling about how the off season went, what their off seasons were like, and kind of how it was bouncing around in what was a really chaotic couple of weeks for everybody. Coming all the way up to the very last moment here. Let's start off with Nell, the new coach coming on in for Team Ambition here. How was the off season for you coming in off of Supernova in spring?
Um, well, it was really chaotic, I'll say. There was a lot of different decisions that I had to make. A lot of players reached out to me, a lot of like organizations also reached out to me, so I was also having a lot of hard times looking for any good players to work with or me being in some kind of team. And obviously, like the last day, until the last day I was actually shaking. Like, oh, we should find some people, we should find some people. So yeah, it was kind of
Glad it,
crazy.
glad it was all able to come together here at the end. We got our team manager Colin here as well. Colin, what was it like assembling teams in this off season for you guys?
It was very stressful. This off season compared to last off seasons was a little bit crazier. Instead of coming down to the last week, it was coming down to the last hour. With teams forming and picking up players literally to the last hour of deadline, you're kind of just sitting there hoping nothing blew up until the last hour. But I'm really happy how things worked out and confident in the team.
Awesome to hear. And Nezzy coming in at the analyst position. Nezzy, what was your off season like?
Yeah. Okay. I unmuted myself. Oh yeah. So it was it, it was interesting for me. I mean, I did not have a team. I wasn't participating in PG in spring, so I was at Florida Tech. I was coached by a SEAL team. So coming back as an analyst, it was a bit harder for me to find a team than if let's say I came off if I was in spring and I came off of qualify with Supernova back in summer 2021. But yeah, it's been quieter. I had to do a few cold calls. Ambition was one of the few teams that actually reached out to me, so I am very grateful for the organization to uh, reach out to me, take a chance to me, still believe in my abilities, and I still think I can be one of the better analysts in the scene, and I can help this team make it to the top.
Awesome to hear. And now we got a little chance to introduce the roster here and check in with you guys as to how the offseason treated all of you. Luckily, you've all ended up under the same roof here under Team Ambition, but it was definitely a rocky road for a lot of us to get here. Let's start with Mabud over in the top lane, coming in off of Winthrop University in spring, and a nice little proving grounds run there as well. How did the offseason treat you, my man?
Yeah, so I wasn't actually gonna do PG this split, or at least for the first OQ. A lot of the players on Winthrop, they didn't really want to do it, but towards the last minute, they kind of decided they wanted to do it, so it was a little messy with that situation, because I was approached by Colin about playing for Team Ambition, and I thought the roster looked pretty good, so I was like, yeah, I'm down to play with you guys, but that kind of got settled, so after joining Team Ambition, and we got the roster finalized literally last day. I thought that we were a pretty good roster, and I think that we have a pretty good shot of doing well in the first qualifier.
Right. Moving on to Sarcasm in the Jungle, going to be your first round of PG competition, I do believe. How was it getting onto a team for the very first time here?
Yeah, I would say it was definitely kind of a strange experience since I wasn't really too familiar with how rosters and amateur were really built up, but that made it pretty interesting for me. It was definitely really stressful as it was like for everyone else with roster shuffling all the time, but I'm happy with how the squad ended up now. And once we finalized the roster on the last day, it was just kind of entertaining to watch how the rest of the OQ rosters ended up with all the drama included.
Awesome to hear. Now, moving on to Strompist in the mid lane, coming off of Wildcard in spring. How was your off season?
Honestly, I was just chilling. Yeah, wasn't really sure if I was gonna play PG, but here I am, and I think we'll make PG for sure. I think it's just a question of whether we can improve or not to beat academy teams later on.
All right. Getting into the bot lane, we've got Psycho, fresh off a split on Supernova, or super close to qualifying for that spring proving grounds. How'd your off season go that ended up bringing you here?
Well, I was thinking about just rejoining with Supernova, but some stuff happened and I ended up just deciding that Team Ambition would be, I think, like more apt place for me to be, just so I could keep that synergy with Pseudo. So it was a bit hectic, like it was my first off season, but got used to it, so not really too much stress. But yeah, it was definitely a wild ride. I'll say that much.
And last but not least, Pseudo coming in at support, joining with his ADC over from Supernova in the spring. How did everything go for you? How do you feel about how everything's come together?
Yeah, I think it's just been a little bit hectic for everyone, especially for me. But I really wanted to join Team Ambition because it just gave me the opportunity to work with people that I really believe in, like Nelv, Psycho, and even like Colin. So I think that's what made me really excited to come here, and Sarcasm as well. And I'm just really excited to see what we can do.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It's definitely a hectic one for everybody, but seems like everybody is happy with the team that's ended up coming together, and you guys definitely up towards the top of the table there, coming in as seed number 10 already for that first open qualifier. Will definitely help out in getting all the way towards that main event. Want to come back over to you, Nelv. Uh, Having scrimmed with this team for a couple of days or weeks now, and getting ready, gearing up to go for proving grounds qualifiers number 1. Some of the players have already weighed in on this a little bit, but what are your expectations for this squad coming into the first proving grounds event?
I definitely want to go top 8. I think every player are really talented, and like even if like our scrims are not really going through because like we finalize our roster pretty late, but I have confidence in their skills. I have confidence in their comms. I have confidence in their ability to work as a team. So I really want to see them going on top 8 for the first OQ.
All right, let's turn over to some more management. Colin, Nell feels top 8. How are you feeling coming into PGQ1? What are your expectations for the squad?
I think top 8 would be a solid result. Obviously, you want to win it all, but we've only had 2 days of scrims so far, and some of them have also been cut short because cancellations and stuff, amateur. So top 8 would be a good result. Anything above that, just kind of icing on the cake. But obviously, we're looking forward to the main event of PG more so than just the qualifiers. Qualifiers are kind of our training grounds a little bit, and us working to improve as a roster.
Sounds good. Want to round it out with Nezzy. Nezzy, are you on board the top 8 train, or are we going to get something a little bit spicier?
I'm definitely on board the top 8 train as for our minimum expectations for this roster. I mean, pretty much for the same reasons as Colin and Elv put in there. We're 10th seed. I definitely think we can perform, especially if we perform well in this open qualifier. We can set ourselves up with a good seeding for a good group, allow us to get into that top 8 in a pretty easy fashion if we're able to do well in the OQ. But no matter how we do well in the OQ, all you need to do is get top 16. And I think as long as we do that, we can easily improve enough to get top 8.
Awesome to hear. Let's get back over towards the players. I want to change up the question a little bit here. Let's start with Mabud. Mabud, what has surprised you the most about working with the new squad? I know a lot of you all have not played with each other before, so would love to hear what's come to light a little bit in the last couple of days of scrims.
I'd say nothing's really surprised me that much about playing with these guys. I've known basically all of them from either playing against them or just like hearing about them in the amateur scene. So I definitely expect everyone to be good in their own right, and that's definitely true. I would just say I didn't expect my jungler to be so like smart about the game because I feel like he puts in a lot of time and effort into the game, whereas a lot of other players in the amateur scene don't. So that definitely surprised me about Sarcasm.
All right, let's move on to Sarcasm. You've hopping into your first Proving Grounds team here. How what surprised you the most about working with the new squad?
I think that I was just surprised to see how receptive everyone was to criticism. Like after every scrim set, it's just we're always talking about things we can do better in review, and it was really shocking to me to see like just how fast we were able to make the fixes. Like I can just talk about an adjustment that we can make between one scrim today, one scrim the next day, and it's just like night and day the difference. So I think just surprising to see how fast we are improving, and I think it's gonna be really important since our roster got finalized pretty late.
Drompist, you got any surprises to share with the rest of the group? Share with everybody watching at home.
No, nothing surprising. I think it just feels good to play on a team with 5 driven players.
Been around the block a few too many times to be surprised anymore, right? Psycho, how about for you? Has anything surprised you about grouping up with the new top side? I know you and Pseudo worked together just last split.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually pretty surprised at how much planning Sarcasm does. It's not really something I'm used to. Is like planning for every possible scenario and trying to make the best informed decision they can possibly make. So that's pretty surprising for me. But other than that, not really. I think everyone said it before, but everyone's just a good player, and you kind of expect that because you played against them or with them, stuff like that. So it's not too surprising.
So Pseudo, same question to you. Anything that surprised you about everybody else?
I mean, nothing really surprising for me. I just have a high opinion of our coach and the individual players. So, I mean, nothing has surprised me yet. And um, yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna do really well. So,
All right, awesome to hear. Glad to hear that from everybody on the squad. A lot of hype coming towards Sarcasm in the jungle there. I want to turn it back towards Nelv and want to get an opinion from the whole squad here. Coming into this first event, team or player, who are you most excited to see the squad play up against? Let's start with Nelv at the coach position.
I really think every team has put in a lot of effort of building their roster and making the game works. But I really want to play against Supernova because basically I was in Supernova last season, and I'm really hyped for what Ariendo ended up with the roster and coach. So I want to meet him again and compete with him.
Somebody here. I'm sure we're going to get a couple of Supernova picks on that one. Let's move over to Colin, the manager. Colin, who do you want to see face off? Who do you want to face off against with the rest of the squad?
I'm looking forward to playing against Team Fish Taco. Just a little bit of fun manager rivalry between me and Trick. We go way back working together, so just a little bit of fun there competing against each other.
Somebody here. Nezzy?
Yeah, those were the two I was going to pick. Supernova for obvious reasons because I was also a staff on Supernova. Delv was staff on Supernova. The bot half of our map was on Supernova at one point or another. So it from a storyline perspective, it's very interesting to face that org again. And TV Taco for me specifically, I was on me and Strumpus were on the original TV Taco roster back in 2020. So obviously they've kind of revamped and their roster is really good on paper. So it'll be interesting to see what they could do on the Rift.
All right, let's get back down towards the players. Mabud, breakout split back in spring with Winthrop, coming in with a whole new roster. Who are you looking forward to playing against?
Um, For player, I'm hyped to face my boy Hybrids in the top lane. He was an old Winthrop player, and I kind of came after him, so be hyped to face him. But for teams, I'm mainly hyped to play against Maryville because after we beat them in PG, I'd love to beat them in CeeLo as well. So
All right, all right. Sarcasm coming in here. Haven't played against a lot of these teams before, I'm sure, other than in scrims. Who are you looking forward to play against?
I'm really excited to play against Aaron from COG Faith because I've been friends with him for a while, and for the past couple of splits, he's always been trying to convince me to play competitively. So it'd be nice to play against him. He's been getting a lot of hype recently, so it'd be pretty nice to bring him down to earth.
All right, Strumpist, how about you? Who are you most excited to play up against in this upcoming split? You've been around the block a couple of times. You've gotten to play against a lot of these guys before, but who are you looking forward to facing either again or for the first time?
I think this split, I'm pretty excited to play versus Doxa. He's my ADC on St. Louis University, so and we're good friends, so I think that'd be pretty fun to play versus him.
All right, moving on to Psycho in the bot lane, fresh off a strong split on Spring with Supernova. Now, who are you excited to play up against either for the first time or once again?
Yeah, I'm also pretty excited to play against Supernova and also against CLG, just because they have Baco and Arendelle, and I think it'll be really fun to see Sarcasm and Strumpus spin those two over.
All right, and Pseudo, who anybody you got your eyes on particularly?
Supernova for me as well. I like Jeff a lot. He's my friend, so I might visit him level 1. We'll see what happens.
All right. Well, we heard it from the majority of everybody here, so everybody mark their calendars for when it is going to be Team Ambition facing off against Supernova. Could happen in the open qualifiers on Monday and Tuesday. Maybe won't happen quite until that main event, but it's certainly a collision course that we're going to get to see somewhere along the line. That should about do it with our interview here with the Team Ambition main team. Guys, thank you all for taking some time to sit down with us and answer a couple of questions, and we're all really looking forward to seeing you all play on Monday and Tuesday, and hopefully into that main event beyond.